No.
Hello?
Yeah, now you are. Now you are.
You are.
That's the first time where I'm more in the middle than you are. Amazing.
You're one of those speed clappers.
Yeah, that's exactly. I never knew how to clap like that until my friend's like, "Oh yeah, the world's like clapping record was like I think it was like 2,000 in a minute or something," and it was the guy that was doing that. And it was like watching it.
I can't.
He would start off like this, like nice and slow, and then it would just get faster. And you're just like, wow, that guy's doing 2,000 claps per minute.
That is his life goal right there.
You know, it's kind of like the guy that, like, what's the word for it? The most cans smashed with a foot in a minute.
I've never heard that one before.
It's kind of like watching a guy like slap.
Okay.
Good morning, everybody.
Hello.
It's Eugene and
Anne-Marie.
And we're here today with episode
20?
I think it's 20. Yeah,
Right.
20. We've done it.
We've done it.
You sure it's 20?
I think so.
I believe it's 20. Episode 20 of Half Awake, Fully Caffeinated. We have a Costa Rica and a Guji. Costa Rica was handpicked by Father Kim.
Father Kim.
And the Guji is our Guji that we have in the shop. And questions. Let's see here the differences.
Two very different coffees.
Wow. Peppercorns.
Yeah.
Father Kim's coffee is unique. Ethiopia is also kind of different too. Not like a little off the reservation with that one. Like not in a bad way. It's just there's a lot more.
It's different.
There's a lot more going on there.
What did I do? I'll have to look at the roast.
Yeah, you're gonna have to look at that one. And per usual, today we have two coffee topics, two non-coffee topics. My coffee topic is Ristretto shots versus long shots or lungo.
Lungo.
Your coffee.
My coffee question is, how long does coffee actually last for?
And then my non-coffee question was unexplored places of the world and why. And
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. That's a good question. You're welcome.
that was good.
Shut up.
It was enough.
Mine is, where did Botox come from?
I'm actually super excited about that one. I would love to find out that it was some guy accidentally like left a bunch of chemicals out, just like penicillin, and just it's like, oh, well, that's my face.
My face looks so smooth.
Yeah. So you want to go first?
Sure. Do you want to learn about coffee or Botox?
You know, dealer's choice.
I'll do coffee. I don't have a timer. Do you have a timer?
I don't have anything
have
on me that
nothing.
could potentially time anything.
We'll just start counting.
Hey Siri, set timer for 4 minutes.
You got it?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. I got it. I forgot it.
You know, AI assistants or virtual assistants, man, they're not very assisting.
I'm not setting an alarm. Okay.
Nice.
Okay. And begin. So the true big stupid answer is, technically speaking, coffee doesn't actually expire. It is considered a dry goods food, so like beans and rice and things. The moisture content is 1% or below, so like it's not, technically speaking, it doesn't expire. However, when you're talking about freshness and taste and quality with specialty coffee specifically, I would say you're gonna have your whole beans are gonna be best within 3 to 4 weeks is kind of the best time period. That's when they're gonna be the freshest. Side tip, you also want to wait a week after it's been roasted. Not a week, but at least a couple of days.
So like freshest is kind of, it's not entirely accurate.
Yeah,
it's
you're not going to enjoy a cup of coffee that's been roasted that day. It's just not, it's not done with the process yet.
It's like optimal time range.
Optimal time range is from like 2 to 3 days after the roast to 3 to 6 weeks. 3 to 4 weeks, sorry.
36 weeks.
36 weeks. After that, it's still going to be good. And it's still going to be enjoyable, in my opinion. It's also opinion based, truthfully.
Subjective. Coffee's always
subjective, yeah. I would say use it within 6 months, though. If you're drinking coffee that's older than 6 months old, it's not going to be the most delicious, freshest tasting coffee. So that is whole bean coffee, whereas ground coffee is a little bit shorter in time, which is why it's always great to grind your coffee per episode of making coffee, per instance, per grind per brew. Thank you. Grind per brew. But if you are getting pre-ground coffee because you don't have a grinder, obviously that makes sense. It's going to be good it's about half the amount of time, so it's going to be good for about 3 weeks to drink as is, and then it'll still be passable for 3 months. Anything after the 3 months is when it's going to get not great and just stale. Stale is the key word that we're going for. Stale.
So my argument is that there is optimal times, like specialty optimal times. But it's like, you know, I think about it kind of like wine. So wine can age. Why can't coffee?
Because coffee is the seed of the fruit, whereas wine is the fruit. And so the age and the fruits and the sugars, they amplify the wine taste. Whereas with coffee, all of the flavors and things are already taken away and stripped from the bean. What you get from the bean is what's left.
Was this an educated answer?
That was straight out of my ass.
Straight out of the ass. I'd like to think that because there's starches, sugars, there's a bunch of complex compounds in coffee that coffee can age, but maybe not in the same way as wine.
Yeah.
And
I believe coffee can age.
I think more often than not, it's like like wine is aged in barrels, wine is aged in other things, and it's kind of like there's like the stuff that happens with wine, but then there's also the external factors. Yeah. And like I think we brought this up a couple times. Like we definitely, I feel like, should look into aging some coffee.
Yeah, we should. But in a different way than we did last time. I think
What did we do last time?
We put the green beans in the barrel. I think we should roast the beans and then put those
That's
in the barrel.
what I was thinking. Yeah. Because it's the green beans going in the barrel, but like, I don't know. Maybe what we do is we like just put it out there and it's like, hey, does anybody think this is interesting? Would you drink barrel-aged coffee?
I bet so many people would drink. That sounds so fancy.
And I say we take it like 2 months, like, I don't know if it's possible to find multiple barrels, like 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, and then go like longer. Obviously, I'd like to find smaller barrels since we don't have really that much space for 4
big barrels.
Or 12 barrels.
12 barrels, yeah.
12 barrels. But I think I've mentioned it before in the previous podcast that I've had an Ethiopia Guji.
Oh yeah, you have.
The first Guji we ever had in the shop, I found, we took it to an event and we had it in a bag and it was a whole bean bag. And I found it and I was like, I'm interested. I want to know what it's like. And I remember pouring it out and it had come out with the consistency of almost like syrup. Like,
interesting.
It was much more syrupy and there was a little bit more of like a body to it that was creamy. And I honestly thought that the flavor was really good. Like there wasn't any of that grassy flavor either. It was mostly just like what you would expect from the coffee. So it almost felt like the brightness and the other like
the fruitiness,
the other foodie flavors, not the volatile compounds.
Sure.
Those compounds seem to have shut the fuck up.
Okay.
Yeah.
They shut the fuck up.
They shut the fuck up after that many years.
Okay.
And then the long-standing tasty compounds have survived.
Interesting.
I'm interested.
I'm willing to experiment.
Yeah, I'm always open.
Anyone that has barrels going.
Anyone with barrels?
Barrels.
Ty Burrell actually might. He does own.
Honestly, he does own Beer Bar and Bar X.
Bar X, yeah.
But I don't know that means barrels or barrels are
Barrels,
they
brawls.
don't brew.
All right, so let's just stay on it with coffee topics. Ristrettos and lungos, or long shots. Alrighty then, so ristretto shots. Ristretto shots are technically an espresso shot, but you extract it with less water with the same amount of coffee. So here at the Bean Yard, ours is 1 to 2, so 1 gram of coffee for 2 grams of water. And say, so it's, if you're doing a ristretto, it's more like 1 gram of coffee to like 1 gram of water, like anywhere between there. And it's just a lower shot. And again, the way that you pull a ristretto is going to be kind of subjective. You have a lot of options on how you go about doing it, but it's like you design your time and ratio based on the coffee and the way that it tastes. Ristretto shots come out to be quite a bit more acidic, a lot more of the sweeter and acidic flavors. Flavors, and of course you have a lot less coffee that comes out, or not a lot less, but you have less coffee that comes out. And then a lungo, or long shot, is legitimately, as it sounds, it's a longer shot. You just pull it with more water, so it takes a longer time to come out. And it's a coffee that comes out with a little bit more bitterness, a little bit less acidity, and it extracts quite a bit more out of the coffee, but then also kind of dilutes the flavor a little bit too. So the more coffee, definitely going to be a completely different flavor profile with a longer pull, because you have more water going through the coffee instead of like with an Americano, you add the coffee to water.
Right.
So it's going to be a completely different flavor profile than a ristretto or a standard shot. And it's usually a little bit more coffee and a little bit more bitter.
Yeah.
Lungos don't really have a specific drink that they were designed for. It's more just like, oh hey, like I fucked up. I'm just kidding.
I fucked up, but
oops, it was going for too long. No, a lungo is probably better for like Americanos, better for coffees that you're kind of expecting some bitterness and so on from. A ristretto, on the other hand, does have one specific drink that it's meant for, which is the flat white. La flat white.
La flat white.
Which is kind of like an Australian version of a cortado. And the reason behind it is that the more acidic and light and lower extraction content allows for a little bit more of a not as aggressive drink when you're drinking a flat white.
Yeah, it almost makes it sweeter.
Exactly, because the acids in your espresso interact with the fats from the milk, and the way that they interact creates sweetness without additional sugar. So if you go to a real specialty coffee shop and you're not super used to going to a real specialty coffee shop, don't add sugar to your latte yet. It might not be too sweet for you, it's sweet enough for you, but
just try it.
Legitimately, most specialty coffee shops design their espresso so that you have acidity in it.
Yeah.
That's besides the point of ristretto and lungo. But both of those, there's not really much of a history behind it. They kind of just appeared as people played with espresso machines, but it's theorized anywhere from like the early 1900s to like the 50s and 60s is when like this was kind of happening, and then it became a little bit more mainstream after the 60s and so on.
Have you ever tried a lungo?
No, I'm not really too interested.
I have once, and I liked it, but here's the deal. It was Starbucks.
Starbucks had a lungo, so it was probably a mistake.
No, they had the option they had a ristretto and long shot option, but it was like the long shot option was I would imagine it's like a 1 to 1, 1 to 2, like 1 to 3 ratio is what I would assume. But that baby, they were long. It would be like 6 ounces of espresso. Yeah.
So how to do one at home, I guess, really fast. If you guys have an espresso machine, if you're doing a ristretto, some espresso machines come with the ability for you to do a single shot or a double shot. To get started, I would just take what you normally do for a double shot and then run it with a single.
Easy.
Lungo,
Just keep going for a little bit longer.
Well, I'm not entirely sure because some of them are like.
Oh yeah.
Some of them are hyper automatic, or not hyper, but they're automatic, so they just pull for a certain amount of time. If there is an option for you to be like some espresso machines just have the flush button and you can just press the flush, do the flush instead.
Yeah.
Do the flush.
Do the flush.
All right, cool.
Good job.
Let's find out about Botox.
Ooh, Botox.
Botox.
Botox. I regret writing in a metallic pen because the light is shining off it, so I can't read my notes.
It's okay. You should just be right here.
Listen, I did this. Do you want to know when I did this? I answered this.
2 weeks ago?
So I will be honest, I didn't.
So you should be well practiced.
I should be well practiced. Okay, I'm going. Okay, Botox, also known as botulinum toxin type A.
Ah, yes, botulinum.
So, Botox was actually discovered as a drug derived from a toxin produced by the bacterium Clostridium botulinum.
Clostridium botulinum.
Clostridium botulinum.
Clostridium.
So, Botox actually dates back to the 1800s, where a microbiologist, Emile van Emegem, I don't know, this is French, first discovered the toxin after a group of musicians became ill. So a big group of musicians got really sick after eating smoked ham.
Smoked ham.
Smoked ham.
Botox comes from smoked ham.
Botox comes from musicians eating smoked ham in the 1800s. So that's when Botox was discovered. And then in the early 1900s, it was like 1800s, 1900s. It was only then that it was discovered that the toxin is actually used, or can be used for muscle paralysis. And that's what Botox is. It is literally just paralyzing the muscles. So that's why they were sick, because anyway.
Their stomach stops contracting.
Yeah. And then during World War II, there were some US scientists that isolated and purified the toxin.
Oh, wow.
And then in the 1970s, okay, 70s.
54 years ago.
Yeah. Scientists purified it. They diluted it, purified it. Yeah,
They purified it further.
Yeah, they purified it. And then they accidentally discovered that it can help wrinkles. It was an accident. In monkeys. It was in monkeys.
Oh,
that's how I know. So
animals.
I was like, I can't remember the backstory. Yeah. So they did inject Botox into monkeys, which we don't love, but now we know.
What was the purpose to start, though?
I couldn't find.
They were just injecting monkeys with Botox.
They were just like, let's see what the fuck happens.
Oh wow! By accident.
Look, you're so young and youthful. Which then led to the idea of using it in the cosmetics industry, because they were like, wow, wrinkle-free monkeys. Who doesn't want to look like a wrinkle-free monkey?
I'm a beautiful.
Beautiful. And then it's also more recently been discovered and used to treat migraines. Similar reason, it paralyzes the muscles that cause
those muscle tension headaches.
Yeah, migraines, and so it paralyzes them and relaxes them and helps reduce migraines. So that's the.
So how did it happen to be in a smoked ham in the 1800s?
That's just where the toxin of botulinum toxin type A, the Clostridium botulinum. It's like fucking E. coli, or not E. coli, but like it's a toxin that's found in meat, like. There's I can't.
For some reason, I thought it came from a plant.
Apparently, I smoked ham.
Apparently, I smoked ham and did not realize how high on ham I was and got it wrong.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe there was a plant.
Clostridium makes me think of colostrum.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, now I don't. Okay.
But it's life-giving, so. Some people drink Clostridium for youth too, so, or colostrum for youth.
Do they?
I don't know. The world is a strange place.
The world is a strange place.
Interesting.
So Botox.
I 100% like thought it came from a plant and like.
It could be now.
Well, my thought is maybe it was a smoked ham that was smoked with the plant that
Or that.
has.
I did not look into the history of where the botulism,
The botulism.
where the toxin came from in that specific ham. I did not research
How did that ham?
How did that ham get Botox?
I mean, it must have been a pretty firm ham. But accidents, like
Accidents. It's all accidents.
majority of the time, things that we discover are accidents,
Yup.
dude. Like
Chloroform, accident.
how?
That's my question. I'm changing my question. I'm changing my question.
Accidental inventions. Is what we're
Oh
going
yeah,
into.
no. There's a whole story. A wife comes in and sees a room full of unconscious
Don't
people.
ruin it for the rest of the.
That's it. That's all I'm saying.
This is crazy. We accidentally
accidentally
injected monkeys, and now their faces are just purely.
Yeah, we made the
wrinkle-free.
most youthful monkey ever. Because monkeys aren't exactly known for having like smooth skin.
Smooth skin.
So I imagine a smooth-skinned monkey would honestly be it'd be like uncanny valley.
Well, I have a feeling it's not entirely that the skin was smooth. Like I'm sure it was still wrinkly, but like it just couldn't like move.
Really?
things on its
No,
face.
I'd like to believe that it was plump, fresh.
Somebody's
wrinkle-free.
got to take this and animate the discovery of Botox, where it's like they just inject it into a weekly monkey, and then it's like, yeah. All right, so let's do questions for next time.
Did you not do your? No, you haven't done your.
Shit.
Non-coffee question yet. Don't try and get out of this. Did you forget to study?
I'm pretty
it?
half awake.
Ha ha ha. Are you fully caffeinated?
No, not even close. All right, let's do this. Unexplored places of the world, and kind of why, and yeah. So the first place that has been unexplored, which I think the majority of you guys could have guessed and been like, well, I know that because, you know, science, is the bottom of the ocean. Deep, 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 deep.
How
Very deep.
Did you learn how deep down the ocean goes?
It goes further than most people think, but it's like the Marina Trench is, I believe, like 36,000 feet deep, like something like that. I could be wrong. It's definitely deep, 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 deep. It's very deep, and it's so deep that the water pressure is so extreme that you need to have uncannily sturdy equipment to get down there. And not only that, there's a lot of money that goes into deep sea exploration, and so people are going in there, but it's like it's hundreds of thousands. And like, what was that? What was that submarine that
I
exploded?
literally was just
Those are
thinking
super
about the
rich
Titanic,
people.
the Titanic submarine.
Oh, that was the Titanic submarine. Yeah, I don't remember.
It was just some dude that built
Seagate?
it. I
What was
can't
it?
remember.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Anyways, that thing I think I'm pretty positive had 2 foot thick steel walls, and there was a failure there. And so you're gonna go quite a bit further down than the Titanic, and you know explore the trenches of the world. And it's dark because legitimately no fucking light exists down there. Not a single thing other than
I was
bioluminescence.
gonna say, except for that one fish.
There's a lot of bioluminescence down there.
Really?
Which is odd. I don't know why they would have that, but there is bioluminescence down there. Like some shrimp glow, some fish have glowy
Yeah, they
bulbs in their face.
There's
But
some weird animals that live
there are
down
some
there.
very weird animals that live in the deep sea, and if you take weird animals from the deep sea and you bring them up to normal, they're gelatinous because there's so much
Is
pressure.
that why the blobfish? Is the
Yeah.
blobfish a deep,
It looks like a blobfish, but if you take them down lower, like they're
sturdy?
sturdy, but you can't really tell because there's not a lot of documented information of a sturdy animal because you have to explore it.
Yeah,
You have to get down there. And again, a lot of equipment, a lot of like you have to get a boat. You have to have the right what's it called? You have to have the right mode of transportation. You need to have probably 4 feet thick steel walls that have the ability to actually navigate in the water. Like Lots of things. Also, there's a lot of heat. There's a lot of like possible volcanic vents. Like there are things that could happen there that could ruin your exploration. So if you're thinking about going to the deep sea, maybe
don't.
Maybe make a lot more money first.
Yeah, maybe.
And leave a will.
And leave a will behind. And
for the bean yard.
Leaving everything to.
Leaving everything to the bean yard.
Yes.
The next one, which some of you might have also guessed, is, do you want to go for it? Do you want to try to guess?
The Amazon rainforest.
Correct. It is the Amazon rainforest. Why? Because there's so many freaking trees in the Amazon rainforest. And like maybe we've had a bird's eye view of what's going on in there, but it is insanely thick and very difficult to be able to go through it. There's a lot of dangers in the Amazon rainforest, such as, poisonous frogs. There's also predators in there. There's a lot of random things. There's also that like fish that can swim up your thingy. There's a lot of like biodiversity in the Amazon rainforest, and it's very, very difficult to
explore. Thoroughly, even though we're destroying it.
We're only 2 of them in. There's 2 more. Next one's Antarctica. And you can probably understand why. It's a very, very harsh environment. It's very isolated, and you have to obviously travel there and then survive the harsh, cold climates.
Reality of that world, yeah.
Yes, that's why Santa's never been found. But I think Antarctica is the South Pole.
Did you say why? Oh, I thought you said that's why Sam has never been found.
Santa.
And I'm like, who the fuck is Sam? Just some dude that got lost.
Some dude out there, yeah. Yeah, Antarctica's South Pole though, right?
Yes.
Not the North Pole, which is where Santa comes from.
Yes.
Sure. The Arctic Circle is in the north.
Yes. No, Santa's from the North Pole. So yeah, north.
Antarctica.
Yeah.
Antarctica or Arctic, it's a good one.
Is it?
And then the last one.
Yep.
The last one is glacial, what is it? Glacial.
Tippity top of mountains?
Not entirely just yes, the Himalayas, and then also Greenland. Like there's glaciers and then ice fields. And the majority of the reason again, it's kind of harsh environments, difficult to get there as an individual. And then the simple fact that there are, you can be walking over a glacier and you'll never see that there's a crack there, and you'll just bloop,
bloop, bye-bye. And
you go bye-bye. There's been some crazy rescues in glaciers. There was a guy, I forget, he was in the Himalayas, I believe, and he fell through a glacial crack, and they knew he was still alive. They could tell he was still alive. And for some reason, people were like, you know what, we're going to conduct a rescue, which does not happen, by the way. More often than not, if you're in a life-threatening situation in the mountain, do expect to be left behind. On Everest, or say K2, if you're going to potentially be if you're potentially dead, not confirmed dead, usually you get left behind. This guy didn't though. And there was some pretty crazy rescue that went on, and I think he survived for 3 days. In the crack. And supposedly it was a little bit warmer in there because it was a crack.
Yeah.
But, survived and was pulled out by a rescue crew.
Wow.
Yeah. Cool.
That's terrifying.
So let's talk about next topics. Boom, boom. My coffee topic for you is the history of the espresso machine.
History of the espresso machine.
Yep. And it is long. Lungo. It's
Lungo.
Ha
ha ha ha. Of Spro machine. Okay.
You might need to write down what you're going to ask me because I don't have it.
Okay, don't worry, I already got it. So, my coffee question for you is, what is a flash brew and how do you make it?
I think we've already talked about this.
We've mentioned it in passing, but we've never done
because
one.
we've done the Kyoto trip. Okay, good. Yeah, we could do a flash brew. Totally. Yeah, sure. Whatever.
For surezies. And then, my non-coffee question for you is, what's the history or the story of the discovery of chloroform? I'm so excited for this.
Oh, man. I want you to give me the life cycle of an octopus.
Ooh!
There's a really just somehow heart-wrenching episode from Radiolab where they talk about an octopus mom.
Oh.
And it's cute.
I know deep down that I have it in me to become obsessed with octopi. Thank you. Octopi. But I just have never done the research into it. But if I come back obsessed with octopi, this is your fault.
It looks like you're gonna have to add to your collection of tattoos.
I know, I've considered getting an octopus tattoo before. It's not the first time.
Yeah. I've never considered an octopus tattoo.
I didn't ask.
Well, I didn't ask you either, so. As usual, thank you all for joining. If you have additional questions about things that we've researched, or you have things you want us to research, please don't feel, or please comment.
Please don't.
Please don't. No, but please comment. Please let us know what you think. Thank you for joining us. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye. Is either of us gonna go turn it off?
I gotta move.